Hey, what is up, everybody? I'm Chance, and we are back today for another episode of Our Life Beginnings. And always, let's just jump into it. A little while later, you and Cove reached a main street in town. All of a sudden, you stopped walking. What's wrong? I think I heard my phone. You dug your cell phone out and looked at it with a satisfied grin. There was a new message. Before you could read it, you were distracted by a small, amused noise from Cove. His head was slightly tilted to the side as he carefully looked at your old keychain. I can't believe you still have that. Of course I do, I love it. You shouldn't be surprised. Well, someone was crazy enough to get it for me, so I may as well use it. You shrugged, you quietly blushed at him, pointing it out. Of course I do, I love it. You meant it. The intensity of your words had Cove blushing and looking away from you. For a moment, you were both at a loss for more words. You were sucked into remembering that day he bought it for you. Cove was the one who spoke up again.
Nice.
I'm actually glad you like it. He looked back at you with a playful grin. Especially since it cost me a whole $6. That's like $30 in kid money. His matter-of-fact tone had you laughing deep. It took several moments to compose yourself enough to speak. I didn't realize that was the going rate. It was then. Probably be more now. So you're trying to say that you were a big spender? In kid money? Yes. I was definitely a high roller, remember? That had you both bursting into fits. Smiling, you refocused on the task at hand. You opened the new text from Miranda, and all you saw was, "I can see you." Immediately from where you stood, you started swiveling your head around. You couldn't spot Miranda anywhere, but she did send you more messages. Oh, that's cool. Haha, I see you looking. Where are you? Come on. Really, Randy? Oh, I get to choose. That's cool. I thought I just sent all of those at once. Haha, come on. The message was sent, and you were back to looking around, scanning for any sign of movement and familiar faces, but they were still invisible. Cove looked at you carefully, raising an eyebrow. Miranda, come on out. You sighed at the ridiculousness. You burst into laughter at her antics. You sent your own listener own joking text. If you want to keep hiding, Cove and I can just go do our own stuff without you, is what you decided on. You smirked, hitting send on that message. Cove looked at you curious, raising an eyebrow. What's happening? Before you could even begin explaining anything to Cove, you both snapped your attention to the yelling from across the street. And there you saw Miranda and Terri coming out from behind the backside wall of the grocery store. They both started waving wildly to draw even more attention to themselves. Cove took a step in their direction. Grinning, he put his hands around his mouth to better project his message across the street. Hey! Laughing and arm in arm, the girls stopped only to look both ways and then rushed across the empty street. Oh! Hi, I hope you weren't waiting too long.
Hey, buddies.
Hey, buddies. Oh, they're both so cute! The character design for this game is incredible. Hi. Hi. That joke was not funny. I'm amazed. How did you appear out of nowhere like that? Hey, I'm so happy to see you two. I thought you both knew better than to jaywalk. Wordlessly, you waved. We gotta go with I'm amazed. How did you appear out of nowhere like that? They started giggling again. Terri glanced at Miranda, wondering what their story should be. It was magic. Gesturing in a vaguely whimsical manner, Terri went along with the decision. And magicians never reveal their secrets. Ooh. That's fair. Terri then closed the distance between her and Cove and crushed him in a painfully tight hug. You're finally here. It's been so long. What took you? He did his best to eke out a reply with his chest being compressed. Sorry. Eventually, she let him go. Terri looked at him with a beaming smile, but Cove was distracted, rubbing his arms. Standing there, Miranda shifted her weight to her other hip. She watched Cove patiently with a bashful smile. Welcome back. Thanks. It finally felt official. Everyone was together in one place. From here, you weren't sure how often you would have another afternoon like this again. They didn't either. Cove. Terri poked Cove square in the chest. You're gonna have to get me your schedule by this time yesterday. Not really possible, Terri, but I can say as soon as I know. So far, work hasn't said anything, but I can tell you I'm busy with Orca activities. When Cove wasn't at his part-time job or pursuing his academic interests, he volunteered for the Ocean Restoration California affiliation. Orca. That's pretty cool. The group focused on cleaning up beaches and removing pollution from the ocean. Cove always loved the sea. It didn't surprise you one bit when he started getting involved with them. It was Cove's activity. You joined Orca too after learning of it. You were an Orca member and introduced to the Cove. Let's say we did it after Cove. We did it because of Cove. Their big smash event for the year is coming right up, isn't it? Yeah. There's not that much more to do before then, but I'm kind of looking forward to the fundraising push. Hopefully, we can pull it off. If anyone can do it, it's you two. And even if it goes really bad, it'll still look good on a college application at least. That's true. Hey, guess what else? We don't have to stand here to say stuff. Let's go! I would like a meal now. Perking up, Cove nodded in agreement. Yeah, for sure. The four of you headed into town, happily chatting the whole way. The only decision left to make was where exactly to stop and eat. The rest of the afternoon and evening passed by in a blink of an eye. When night fell, it was time to head home, and you parted ways with Miranda and Terri. You and Cove reached your neighborhood without event. It was late enough that your out-of-the-way street was dark and silent. You were walking tiredly after such a long day. You strolled with a skip in your step. You ambled along. Cove was giving you a piggyback ride home. So we're not gonna force Cove to do a piggyback ride thing again. But let's just say it was a good day. We're strolling with a skip in our step. Days like today, filled with good food and good company, left you feeling energized. As you walked alongside Cove, you peered at his face out of the corner of your eyes. You wondered why he felt so distant to you. It was out of character. For a while, Cove silently stared ahead and left you alone with your own thoughts. It surprised you when you did hear his voice all of a sudden. He still wouldn't look at you. It feels weird coming back to the neighborhood and trying to get into things like they're the same. And they're not. They've changed. They're still changing. Your mouth felt uncomfortably dry all of a sudden. It was true. The things that kept the people you knew together were starting to disappear. Each person had to make their own priorities and their own path now that it wasn't set for them. You thought about your own immediate future. You were still set on that for yourself. You wanted to go to school full-time, to go to school part-time, to work full-time, to work part-time, to focus on time that's not school or work. We want to go to school full-time. Oh. And to work part-time, I'll say, just to help pay for school. All the above? Can I do that? Is that possible? We'll leave it at that. I think those are two pretty good goals. And that was the basics. For your career, you thought you'd find a company to work at, work online, do contract work, start your own business. You know what? I've been working remotely for almost a year now, so we want to work online. Oh. Did it just move? Did it change? It just changed. What the heck? Start your own business. Work online. Yeah, we're gonna start our own business. I don't know what it's gonna be, but we clicked it just to see what happened. And that was all. Always try and work for yourself if you can. For your education, you thought you'd attend community college, attend public university, go to private college, join a trade school, take online classes. So, depending on what you're going into, I almost recommend online classes and mentorship and stuff like that. But Jamie wants to attend a public university. Whatever that means for all of this. I think that's fine. For that, you wanted to stay local, go to a different part of the state, go out of state, go abroad, travel around to different places. Ooh. So I think Jamie, to try and stay around the same people, would probably want to try and stay local. I think he would. So that's what we're going to do. It'd all be happening so soon. You'd already applied to schools and jobs. You'd already applied to schools. You already applied to jobs. You started to prepare for what was coming. You hadn't begun to do any of that yet. We're going to do the first one. Jamie has kind of always been prepared. Definitely not like me. And you'd be open about your situation and everyone knew. And you'd only spoken about this with family and those you were close to, like Cove. And you'd kept all of this to yourself, and Cove was the only person who knew. We'll say that we really only spoken to family and close people like Cove. Now you wondered what Cove had in mind. You'd heard him consider some things for his future, but it was never anything that would have counted as a real plan. Making it back home, you both stopped in the middle of the street. Cove sighed. Cove looked at the ground for a moment. His mouth trembled, trying to settle on the right words to say. Cove? So, you're planning on working and stuff in Sunset Bird? Yeah. Cove closed his eyes and nodded while he composed his thoughts. He looked at you when he lifted his head. I decided on something, well, kind of... He smiled slightly and rubbed his arm, and then his expression grew more serious. I'm not going to decide on a school or a career, not this summer. I'm going to stay here, at least in Sunset Bird. I'll probably move out of my dad's place. I'll keep working my job, keep doing my volunteer stuff and everything else. Maybe I'll know what I want for myself by fall, or next year, or maybe I'll never have a plan. Life will continue on with whatever's happening. Fair, Cove. Actually fair. I'm not going to crush myself trying to have everything figured out by a timeline that someone else has set. I just can't do it. His brow furrowed, and his tone was tense. It was clear how much expectations were weighing on him. I guess it'll be me and you, right here for a while longer. His eyes were glossy. You weren't going to be separated, and that meant a very great deal to him. Yeah, that's good. Your plans sound very you. You nodded understandingly. You were glad that the two of you would be in Sunset Bird together. Somehow I'm not surprised things turn out like this. You weren't sure how to react. I mean, I think Jimmy would say your plan sounds very you, but I'm gonna say that we were glad that the two of us would be in here in Sunset Bird together. Elated, you smiled. Cove looked relieved that you were happy with this turn of events. I'll see you tomorrow, Jamie. I'll see you. Night. He pulled you into an unexpected hug. Oh, it knocked the breath out of you, yet couldn't have been a more reassuring feeling. You returned his embrace and stayed that way for as long as you could. Night. Night. He finally let go, giving you another smile. Then Cove started walking away, but you remained there, frozen in the middle of the street. You watched him and wondered, how many more times will he be able to say that he'll see you tomorrow? This game! You hope for countless more times. Finally, you turned towards your own house. You vowed to yourself that you would make the most out of every moment you had this summer. Oh, y'all. It's getting me emotional. I'm surprised I didn't start crying, honestly. Oh, it's so cute. It depicts like young romance, awkwardness, summer, being like the summer before college being like maybe one of the last times you can see your friends. I had so many friends that left to completely different states. And yeah, life kind of moves on and you talk for a bit and hopefully you stay in contact. I'm in contact with some of them, but you know, it's not the same. Life changes so much. So gosh, this really taps into that like uncertainty, insecurity, like trying to hold on to as much as you can while everything changes. Wow, yeah. All right, and that is the end of this episode. We're done with this little beginning phase thing here. We're going to start delving into each of these little chapters. I'm really excited to see what happens. We've got new characters, Miranda, Terri, Baxter. Who is this Baxter person? I'm very curious to see what kind of chaos he can actually bring and among the just atmosphere of change. Like what's going to happen? Was it like what does it all mean for the future of everyone? Like let me know how you felt about this episode down below. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, and if you want to keep seeing more, hit that beautiful subscribe button. And as always, I appreciate you guys. Bye.